Marianne, would you care to tell us about your fascinating journey into the distilling world, things that influenced you, and how you got to where you are today?
Absolutely, Seth. And I just wanted to say it is such an honor to be up here with you, Rebecca. Your story is so inspiring to me.
Thank you.
And I hope to have such a success story to tell.
You will.
We're just beginning in our journey.
Yeah, you have. She's been in the pages of the magazine, so
she's no stranger.
She's doing something right.
Somebody, that's right.
So my background's a little different. I've been in Kentucky my whole life. I claim Kentucky, but I was born in Tennessee, so don't hold that against me. It's just a state away. I went to University of Louisville. Please don't hold that against me either. I see a little bit of red out there in the crowd.
Speed school, that's a difference.
I went to speed school, so I was in the engineering books through my entire 5 years that I was going through college, so didn't get to many sports events. My background is chemical engineering, and the reason why I chose chemical engineering was because of the things that I had done, my interest prior to that. So I studied automotive in high school. I thought that I might be making biodiesel or fuel additives or something like that. I even at one time had considered being a diesel mechanic. Went to tour a few different colleges. Luckily talked myself out of that. I didn't go into college right away, which was a smart decision for me because I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I took a year and a half off, and it was really the suggestion of my father that I started entertaining this engineering path, and then wound up choosing chemical engineering. So, and really it was for the opportunities out there, biodiesel and renewable energy, but also if I wanted to make cosmetics or peanut butter or bourbon, that would be an option. So I started school in 2007, and then in 2009, it was time for me to find an internship. And I was very fortunate to learn of Brown-Forman, of course very well known in the state of Kentucky, maybe a little less well known outside of Kentucky, but very well known still for their brands. So the makers of Jack Daniel's, Woodford Reserve, Old Forester, lots of wonderful brands, not just whiskeys, but vodkas and tequila and some liqueurs as well. So I found Brown-Forman and started there in 2009, and in 2012 they decided they liked me enough to keep me, so they offered me a position even before I was fully graduated from college. So I had one more class that I was taking online while I started working in research and development at Brown-Forman. So I found my way into the industry through that internship and developed a passion for bourbon. I never even really had a taste for bourbon before starting to work for this company. So that was really the start of the start of the beginning. Yeah. So working for Brown-Forman, I had so many amazing opportunities. They're a global production company, and working in research and development, I was supporting global production facilities worldwide. So I had spent some time in Belgium and Mexico, and they sent me to California to learn how to make wine. So I got a very diverse opportunity and experience in a very condensed amount of time. So it was about, 6 or 7 months after I started full-time back in 2012. I had come back they selected me as a guinea pig for this production training opportunity, which was neatly packaged, but I think it was just because they were kind of understaffed and they needed people. It's production training opportunity. So I went over there and managed the bottling lines in Louisville at LPO. I was on a team of 4 supervisors, and got to a point where I was leading a night shift, essentially on my own. 30 union production employees that I was managing while trying to keep the production lines efficient and learning and managing all at the same time, being right out of college.
Marianne, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
Was it an interesting adjustment for you, being the age you are, and jumping into a culture where I'm sure a lot of the people that were doing those jobs had been there for decades? Was there any sort of clash or acclamation with them respecting you and just taking you serious, I guess, like a better word? Or was it all pretty fluid?
That's a great question. It was a little bit difficult to find my way in with them and get their respect, but I learned very quickly, and I think I identify with people well. So there were some things that I learned about myself. I didn't know what my management style was until I started pissing people off, and then I was like, okay, they gotta change this a little bit. Looks very sweet, can be very mean. So I learned that about myself and adjusted. So I think that self-awareness was very valuable for me to gain so early in my career. But yeah, it was kind of trial by fire, and somehow found my way on the other side of it. And then when I got back to my cushy R&D job after doing the production job, I was out in the pilot plant, which is essentially like a little 2-barrel micro distillery system. My office was in the broom closet across from our little replica Woodford pot stills, so I had a great view. And I was out there checking asset numbers, getting ready for an audit, and my boss's boss's boss at the time, who has now since then moved up a couple levels in the company, came out to me and walked straight up to me in the pilot plant and said, "Hey Marianne, what are you doing?" And I told him, and he said, "Okay, well that's great, but it's not as important as what I want to talk to you about, so please come to my office in 15 minutes. And I start to freak out. I'm like, okay, well he probably wants to talk about this production training that I've done, so I prepared, what I've learned as fast as I can in 15 minutes and show up in his office, and I walk in and he greets me with this big smile. I'm like, okay, I'm not in trouble. We'll sit down, and I started spewing off, it was a great experience. Here's some things that I think could be, improved on for the next go round. And he said, okay, well that's great, Marianne, but what I really want to know is, do you want to be the next Woodford Reserve Master Distiller? So it took my breath away, very literally. It kind of took me back because I had no idea that was even in my realm of possibilities. So I gave myself a second, and then I just simply said yes. I would love to do that job. I think I would do very well.
What year was that
job.
in, Marianne?
That would have been in that same year, in 2012.
2012, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, that's not right. It would have been maybe mid-year. Maybe that is right.
Wow.
Yeah, 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, so then right away they started introducing me around.
That's crazy.
Started introducing me around. I guess I'd made an impression. Introduced me to Chris Morris. He explained to me what the job would entail, and then I started training right away.
Yeah.
So
I remember, of course, being in the bourbon world, hearing, have you met Marianne Barnes? She's this young female that's being groomed to, take over the Woodford throne there. So you've lived 3 lifetimes in probably a matter of 3 or 4 years there.